Previously on the Miles Power channel. Now in this video I'm going to explain what happened in this clinical trial, at least according to the video and the people involved. But before I do that, I would like to show you a back and forth I had with one of the people running the trial, a guy by the name of Klaus. Now this video might not be as snappy as the last one, but I believe it's important for you to read these emails to get a gist of the kind of people involved. So after I got Klaus's email address from the editor, I decided to email him and ask for permission to use his footage, or at least to see it. And soon after, I got the following reply.
Dear Mr. Power, thank you for your message. Unfortunately, I cannot give my permission for that. It is a 5-year-old outdated footage which is privately funded by myself and for internal reasons. Too many people abuse my private research and I have no clue who you are, who pays you and what you really want to accomplish. My footage has been stolen by a con man, edited incorrectly and posted on the internet, and abused for his little 2 minutes of glory. Fine for him. For sure, as a researcher, you have seen that sodium chloride is used in countless applications for governmental treating water, in hospitals to disinfect ERs, in war zones to stop bleeding shot wounds, in dozens of legally approved drugs, and so on and so on. So what is so miraculous? It is common stuff. If you're after a cure for malaria, which is not exclusively a tropical disease, malaria was common even in Western Europe until short after World War II, and always treated with success. There are at least 5 natural ways, to my knowledge, to cure malaria fast and efficient without ever having to reach for pharmaceutical drugs. Just go to any shaman or herbal healer, both in the bush, for as long as they are still there, or in your neighbourhood, and ask them. I give you a hint. Try RT measure T just for one. As for sodium chloride and malaria, I don't know the answer. It's an ongoing insight with everyday new findings. It's not my goal to prove anything to anybody. Everyone is entitled and has the obligation to search for himself for the truth. So why would you not go out there for yourself? Test it yourself, not complicated, and find out what this gas can do. I can assist you if you fund it. You can buy the ingredients legally in any drugstore, and you can produce it yourself. But don't expect me, just a truth seeker, to let you drink from my humble cup of questions and doubts, while you have the well at your disposal. Don't believe that they tell you, don't believe what I tell you, don't believe what God, Allah, Buddha, and their friends tell you. Go out there and find out for yourself. It is great out there, I can assure you. Best wishes, with all due respect, K. Prosimon.
I have to admit, at first I was kind of taken back by this email because this person didn't seem like the same calm and collective person we see in the video. But then after thinking about it, I realised that that was exactly what the video was aiming for. It was trying to hide the fact that these two men, Klaus and Leo, performing these clinical trials, were not men of science, but peddlers of bullshit, using the third world and its vulnerable people as guinea pigs to promote their dangerous woo. Also, private research. You. You did human experiments and you conned people into thinking you cured them of malaria, and yes, you did con them, and I will show you internet people how he did it later on, and you don't think this data belongs in the public. You, honestly. How the Red Cross and the Water Reference Centre have not thrown this person under the bus is beyond me. And one more thing, you think this footage was edited incorrectly? Really, because I'm not really sure how this can be edited incorrectly.
Now all in all, 100% cured people, less than 5 days, all within 24 hours to 48 hours.
Now, if you have any more doubts about the caliber of men running the show, you'll be interested to know that the editor of the video, you know, the one who's still in contact with Klaus, has all this footage yet apparently edited it incorrectly, referred to Leo as a complete fruitcake because he believes in some kind of sect from Mars. I'm not making this up, by the way. This complete fruitcake, not my words, believes in some kind of sect from Mars. This is one of the 2 people running this clinical trial and giving out medical advice online. Anyway, after reading Klaus's email, there was nothing more I wanted to do than write an angry reply, calling him a coward for not giving me permission to use the footage. But I realised that I need him on my side. So I replied, "I'm sorry, I probably should have told you a little bit more about myself before asking for the footage. As I said, I run a skeptical website, marspower.co.uk, and a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PowerM1985. I don't get paid by anyone to produce this content online, and the only thing I want to accomplish is to try and help people. I'm a chemist and know that NaClO2 can and is used to purify water, but I don't believe it can cure malaria. This is why I was shocked when I was sent a link to the video of the trial. Now, the next bit of this email won't make any sense unless you've watched the entire MMS can cure 154 people video. You see, at the end of that, we have a little section from Leo who says that Klaus has decided to turn his back on this research and is now going around saying that the whole thing was faked.
The doubters suggest the video was fake and wanted more detailed information. At the same time, the Red Cross distanced itself and even went so far as to say it never happened. This misinformation was put out by Klaus Brusman himself, the one who initiated the test in the first place. He even suggests that the people wearing Red Cross t-shirts just happened to come by to see what was going on and had nothing to do with the test.
When you say conman, I take it you're referring to Leo. If he stole your footage to get his 2 minutes of glory, then why not give it to me to prove him wrong? Let me show my 47,000 subscribers how he edited the footage incorrectly. You are not obligated to do anything, but every day that video is up, without a rebuttal, more and more people will believe it. Now, I waited and waited for a response that never came, so I came to the conclusion that this guy was not going to give me permission to have the footage. So I talked to the editor again and was like, hey, can you leak it to me, pretty please? And he said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So I thought, you know what? Okay, let's email Klaus one more time and say, hey, okay, don't give me the footage, but can you please answer these very basic questions? Can you let me know what blood tests were performed, how many were performed, and the timescale of these tests? Why were the Red Cross there? At the end of the video, Leo tells us that you said they just happened to be there. One of the videos said that 11 people still tested positive after receiving the MMS, but were cured on the third day. Is this true? Now, that third question refers to a second video I found, but we'll get to that bit later. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your response. And then, nothing. Didn't reply, didn't even bother to acknowledge me. Now, I was all ready to think, hey, never mind, tried this line, I'll have to go down another one, when out the blue a few weeks later, I received an email from an enraged Klaus. Now, the reason he was so angry was because I contacted a fellow blogger whose name I'm gonna butcher. Pepij Van Erp? I am so sorry, buddy, I am so sorry. Anyway, this chap has done some fantastic work in trying to uncover what happened back in Uganda. Links to his blog are all in the doobly-doo below because it's absolutely fantastic stuff, and this guy helped me out the entire way. 2 thumbs up to you, buddy, you are absolutely cracking. Now, here is a snippet of the email that Klaus sent me.
Dear Mr. Power, I've put some of my contacts in the BCC from whom I cannot disclose their names, as you may abuse their email addresses. It came to my attention that after my answer, you felt the need to get to me through other ways, such as Pepijn Van Erp. I repeat, do the research yourself so you don't have to depend on the opinions of others and hearsay, etc. If you wish to bring down a certain person, friend or enemy, I will not take part. If you wish to cure malaria, there is only one way. Do the research yourself. I am willing to assist you if you get the funding. But stop reading and repeating stuff from other parrots.
Now, after receiving this email, I decided that I could no longer be overly nice to Klaus. I had to be a bit more forceful in my next response. So I brought up the fact that, hey, I'm going to be producing a video on this subject matter. I'm going to be writing blog posts about it. And not only that, from the information I've got so far, your company, which you are the CEO of, the Water Reference Center, isn't going to look too favourable in my videos. The fact of the matter is, both you and your company, the Water Reference Center, are involved, and if you continue to be unhelpful, my video, which is going to get sent to 47,000 people, is going to reflect poorly on the both of you. I know the data was manipulated to make it look like you cured all those people of malaria. All I need from you is to accurately answer, to the best of your knowledge, the following questions, or to give me permission to use the footage. And I sent the same 3 questions again. Now, a few hours later, I got a response from Klaus, which was over 1,000 words, and essentially it was just rambling nonsense. Here's some interesting snippets.
You still talk about what you need and consider yourself as superior to me or others and seem to disrespect the wishes or the wants of other people. Superiority because you insinuate I am not helping mankind, and you, on the other hand, with the obscure little group of revengeful people with some unknown qualifications and self-proclaimed truth police, without even its own proper lab or copying from other people. Very much like students at an exam copying the answer from their neighbours without checking the results for themselves. You are the man.
I think this email really shows what kind of person Klaus is, and that he is really just like any other quack out there, trying to sell his own brand of bullshit, and desperately trying to avoid answering basic questions, out of the fear that he would expose his clinical trial to be a sham. Now at this point I came to the conclusion that no one who was involved at all with these clinical trials were going to help me, so I decided to pull all the scraps of information I had from all the videos online to try and discover what really happened back there. So in the video we see people screened for malaria using an antigen-based rapid diagnostic test. The specific test used in the video detects malarial histidine-rich protein 2, which is expressed by only one of the 5 malarial parasites. The manufacturer claims that it can be used to detect the presence of 50 parasites in 1 micrometer of blood. However, this protein that's secreted by the parasite into the host bloodstream can persist in there for a long time, even after the parasite has been cleaned out or its numbers have been greatly reduced. This means that someone who tested positive using this test may not be infected with malaria at that specific time. That's why these tests are only used as a screening method, and if you test positive in them, you have to then be tested again by a different method to confirm it. Another problem with relying on these antigen-based tests is that in malarial endemic areas, like Uganda, malarial transmission is so intense that a large proportion of the population is infected but not made ill. According to a Dr. Peter, the Malarial Control Program Manager in the Ministry of Health, 42% of Ugandans are host to the parasites. Such carriers have developed enough immunity to protect them from the malarial illness, but not from the malarial infection. These malarial infections would have been detected by the rapid antigen test, but not by the gold standard test for laboratory confirmation, which is a blood smear. This is where a drop of blood is smeared on a glass slide and stained before the number of parasites and leukocytes are physically counted. It's almost making sense now, but no spoilers yet. Anyway, so the next bit is a little bit confusing and pretty much contradicted by everyone. Klaus says that those tested positive for malaria using the rapid tests were then taken to the lab for under microscope tests on the same day.
We do a little blood test, just a little boop, prick, and then we do a quick strip malaria test. The positive ones are being sent to the lab for a thoroughly under the microscope test.
He then goes on to say those who tested positive were offered a dose of MMS and asked to return the following day. When they returned, all but one tested negative for malaria.
And those ones are being offered 1 glass of purified water, the same way as the national authorities make it, and then we ask them to come back the next day for double check.
However, the number of tests used in this trial is contradicted by Leo in the same video.
And so yesterday we did some blood proofs in the prisoner and all of them were positive. And now we did a second blood test and all of them shows negative.
Leo's version of events is also backed up by the paperwork we see in the video. They all only ever say that a rapid test was used to determine a person's malarial status on the first day. There is no mention of a second test. What's more confusing is that in Klaus's very long email, he himself said that they never proved that anyone was malarial negative.
If I have made any statement so far, it was in my stolen private footage, and those statements were made before we found out other stuff in our research, and that is why they cannot be public. They are no more valid today. For example, at the time of our internal statement, we had not yet tested the enzymes in the blood, and that is the only secure way of claiming a person is freed from malaria. And so we had not yet tested on enzymes. All our findings and claims only deserved an interim statement and not yet a conclusive one.
Now all in all, 100% cured people less than 5 days, all within 24 hours to 48 hours.
Even the bit about only people who tested positive for malaria were given MMS is contradicted by one of the Red Cross volunteers, a woman called Kirsten, who never replied to any of my emails.
Tested negative or positive, people were given purified water, which was prepared by Ronald, Enno, and me. Thereby, the amount of drops of water purifier varied by age and malaria status. After taking the purified water, people were also given bottled water to take home, as they had to drink a lot for the chemical to take action in the body.
Now, she wrote this on her blog, which she's since deleted, but as we all know, the internet never really forgets. Now, she also talked about the quite nasty side effects people were having after drinking this MMS.
The immediate reactions after taking the purified water were worrying to me. People disliked the smell, taste, and some children had to vomit. Unfortunately, we had to tell people that these symptoms might carry on at home for the day.
This giving everyone bleach is backed up by a video starring Leo, who basically says, "F it, in for a penny, in for a pound, give them all bleach."
And people with malaria, they got 18 drops MMS, but also people who didn't have malaria, we couldn't send them home because they were also sick, but they had different other diseases. And people who didn't have malaria, we give them 8 drops of MMS, children 6 drops of MMS, and babies always 2 drops of MMS. And children with malaria, we gave them 8 drops, and babies always 2 drops.
This video is just full of contradictions.
In total, we identified 154 malaria positive patients, together with the local health authorities and the doctors. All of them were treated. All of them were between 24 hours and 48 hours malaria negative, without any side effects.
The immediate reactions after taking the purified water were worrying to me.
This giant mess is why I put so much effort into trying to get hold of the footage from the editor, because nothing anyone is saying really makes any sense, but I believe I can explain what really happened. Yeah, sorry guys, another cliffhanger, but if you appreciate this video, why not think about giving me a like? And if you appreciate my hard work and all the stuff that I do online, why not think about becoming one of my Patreons? And to all my Patreons, you guys are flipping awesome. You're allowing me to make this kind of high quality work nowadays, so thank you very much. Anyway, I'm gonna go, so ta-ta for now, internet. Goodbye.